Hello everyone, and welcome to our super simple and safe backup script for Windows as well as for Linux and Mac. Now whatever I'm doing here, all the instructions are there in the blog, and the link to the blog is there in the description of this video. And so once you're on the blog or blog post, scroll down to Windows 10 if you're using Windows, and you can scroll down to Linux and Mac instructions. Notice again here there are instructions for both the Linux, Mac as well as Windows 10 as well. So for Windows, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy this particular script here, and then I'm going to paste it into a file called simplebackup.sh. So I've already done that in the interest of time. It is the same script that you saw on the blog. And also I'm going to create a configuration. Let me show you what is there in that configuration. I'm going to just open it simply with Notepad. So again, simple_backup.ps1 is the one that we created by copying the script from the blog, right? And our backup script needs a configuration. So what I'm telling it is from C website and podcast folder, which let's look at that. I want to copy everything to my E drive, which is my backup drive. And so let me actually show you that. On this PC I have a C drive, as well as this is my external hard drive. Now I want to copy as the first configuration everything from this website and podcast folder onto the backup demo folder on the E drive, which if you look at that, currently doesn't have anything apart from this a.txt. So that I want to copy, and I also want to make sure that while copying I want to sort of exclude some folders. For example, I want to exclude this Git folder because it has too many files and fragments my backup. And also I don't want to copy, or I want to exclude this projects folder. This is basically all my podcast audio projects of Audacity. I want to exclude those, so I mentioned that. So notice that I can give as many folders as I want, and I have to separate them with a hash, right? And then I also want to copy this C sources directory onto E backup demo sources. So the destination root directory remains the same, backup demo. So let's look at the C sources as well really quickly. So this is basically a file with a lot of projects in here, Java, Node.js and Python projects, a fairly fragmented directory I want to copy. So that's basically is my setup. So what I've done is I've copied the script and named it as simplebackup.ps1, and I've also created a configuration that you just saw. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fire up PowerShell here and go to the directory in which I have the script, and simply I'm gonna go ahead and run this simple backup script. So there you go. Now it mentions that there is a log file that it is creating as well. And now if we go to the E drive, the backup demo, so notice that it has already started putting in stuff here, right? It's not going to take a whole lot of time for the backup to finish. And instead of waiting for the backup, let's go ahead and look at my Linux or Mac setup. Again, you can go to the blog, scroll down and copy the script. Again, all the instructions that you need to run it are already available here. And if you're not using Linux or Mac, you can go ahead and skip this part, and we'll come back to the Windows part a little bit later. But again, on the Linux front, I am using a Kali Linux machine, and let me show you what my setup looks like here. I have a primary drive, basically SDA1, and my SDB drive is basically a data mount that I've created for this particular demo. I want to copy a certain set of folders from here to here, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So first thing I need to do, as before, I need to copy the shell script, as well as I need to create a configuration. So I've already done that, again in the interest of time. So the simplebackup.sh is here. So I'm gonna vim and show you that. So this is basically copied. You can copy this from the blog, and I also have a configuration created. So let me clear and show you the configuration. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to copy from the sources and sources1 directories to the MNT data volume, which we just saw, and directories that are named similarly. And also while copying the sources one, I don't want to copy this particular set of directories. Again, we're trying to show you the exclude. Again, the configuration is comma separated: source directory, destination directory, source directory, destination directory, and exclusions, right, which are separated with hash. So let's take a look at what these directories actually have. So cd ls-ltr. So again, it has got this 01 zips. If you go into that one, there are a lot of files and directories within that. Now again, let's go to the sources one, which is our second directory that we plan to copy. Now if you see here, there is a .git and .node modules that I have asked it to exclude, right? And there is another directory, one directory which is basically one, and within that there is a file, right? So while on Windows we are copying gigabytes of data. Here it's pretty much some megabytes of data that we are copying. So alright, now also on Windows as well as on Linux, make sure that you have permissions to all the source and the destination directories so that the backup goes through smooth. So let's go ahead and run this script. So here I'm going to run it with sudo as a root basically. So I'm going to say simple backup.sh. And also, before we did that, let's look at the destination. So let's look at the destination and cd here. Now notice here there's only a lost and found directory and the 1.txt file, right? Again, come back and let's run the simple backup.sh. Simple backup.sh. So notice that it is telling you that it has started backing up, and notice that it is already complete, right? So let's look at what all got copied, right? So let's look at the sources directory first, right? And let's look at the destination for that. So it was temp and data volume. Sorry, not temp, mount and data volume ls-ltr. So notice that sources and sources one both have made into the backup. If you look at the sources, notice that the data.log and the 01 zips file came through. And again, if you look at the sources one, notice that even though there were other files in here, which is basically .git, node modules directories, those did not make it through. Just the directory 1 came in, and if we went in there, notice that the file is here as well. So now, before we move on to look at what happened to our Windows backup, let's do some differential backup testing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the sources 1 directory, right? Or let's say the sources directory, and I'm gonna go ahead and basically delete this data.log file by rm command, data.log, and I'm gonna create a new file, new.txt, right? So now if I did ls-ltr, notice that the data.log is gone and 01 zips is there. So now our backup script should make sure that also from the destination data.log gets deleted and the new.txt gets added. So let's go ahead and run our script once again. So I'm going to go ahead and simple backup. So again, there's not much to do, so it is already done. So let's go ahead and look at our destination again. So I'm going to go ahead into the mount and data volume. So what we're interested in is the sources 1 directory. Oh, sorry. In fact, we are interested in the sources directory. So notice here the data.log is gone and the new.txt is added onto the. So now you can also look at the logs. So star.log. So let's look at the latest log. So notice what it says here. It says, okay, deleting the data.log, and it added the new.txt, right? And for the next one, it really didn't have to do anything because we didn't really change the sources1 directory. So that basically how we can see the differential logging or differential backup working. It's going to work the same way on Windows as well. So now let's go back and see what has happened, because what has happened with the Windows script, because there was a lot of backup that we were going to take there. So let's go and see what happened to the Windows script. So notice that in the PowerShell the backup is complete, right? It says it has backed up the website and podcast, right? Completed for that, as well as backup of CE sources is also completed. So for that, let's go ahead and look at the target directory. So notice that CE sources made it through here, right? And website and podcast also made it through here. And now if you go into audio, notice that the projects directory did not come in here, which we did not want it to come. So notice that this is a safe, very fast backup, and you can actually look at the source code, so you don't have to be worried about whether your data is being sent to somewhere else or something like that. You can just hook up an external drive or USB and get your backup going, right? Now again on Windows also, let's go ahead and test our differential backups, right? Or proper syncing of the backup. So for that, again, what we can do is go into the sources directory. Just like before, I'm going to remove the data.log from here and maybe add a text file. So let's go ahead and add a text file. There you go. And let's fire up our backup again. And this time, hopefully, it's not going to take a lot of time. So there you go, done with the backup, right? And let's look at into our destination directories, right? Which is backup demo. Sorry. Yes, so backup demo. We only change the sources. So notice that the data.log is gone from here as well, and it has sent the new text document that we had added. So notice this is the destination directory. So yeah. Even and another thing I would like to show you is how beautifully it creates the logs, so that you know, we just saw the log on the Linux side, but also on the Windows side. If we go to the logs, right, and maybe you can open it with any folder or any editor of your choice. You can open it with Notepad as well. So notice that it tells you what happened. Again, it uses the native robocopy. There is nothing fishy happening here. And it tells you when the backup started, what all it backed up, right? And it also gives you a nice summary for each of your backup configurations. So there's one here, and there should be another one somewhere here. But yeah, so basically, okay, hold on. So I think it should be somewhere here. So notice that for all your backup configurations that you mentioned in the CSV, it also gives you a nice sort of summary. And in fact, if you look at the differential log backup, it also gives you, notice here, this is pretty cool, right? It's gonna give you what was the extra file. So notice that the data.log was extra in the destination, and there was a new file that was added, which was a new text document that we added. So it gives you pretty much all the details that you need. And also, if you want to know what happened to your data, or let's say a few months or a few weeks, you can just look at your backup log files and look at if there is something there that you want to look at, whether or not a file got copied or not, or what happened with the particular file, right? So now we have backed up everything that we wanted to back up as per our configuration, right? Which was here into the destination directories, and we have done that on Windows as well as on Linux. So hopefully you have liked this backup script. Go through the blog. You can look at other blogs while you're here, or other blog posts while you're here. All the instructions that we use today are here. So make sure that you use it. You don't really have an excuse now to not back up, right? Just put in an external drive or a USB and go ahead and back up. You can also schedule this, schedule these backups using any kind of scheduler on Windows, as well as on Linux you can use the cron job, right? And I'm gonna leave the link of this blog into into the description of this video. So make sure you try this and share it with your friends and family, whoever needs backup. Again, and for the more technical folks, and just so that you're aware that nothing fishy is happening, we can just run through in the next couple of minutes through these scripts, so that we know what we're doing. So basically what we're doing here is we're creating the log file, the one that you saw with the timestamp, right? And then for each of the line in the file, what we are trying to do is we're formulating a command option, or command and its options, basically a robocopy command which comes natively with Windows 10 at least, right? And this is kind of a robust copy, right? That is what robocopy means. And we are saying that, okay, copy from source to destination, use 10 threads, mirror the directories, and there are some other options here, right? And that's basically what it is doing. And if we want to have an exclude configuration, it adds that optionally as well. And that's it. After that, it just fires up the backup command, which is basically our robocopy command, and then it gives you the completed backup if it completes the backup, right? And there could be some changes if some of the readers point out that they need some additional functionality, but they will all be open source, so you don't have to worry about your data being copied somewhere else. And on the Linux front also, we formulate the shells, the log file name first, and instead of robocopy, all we are doing differently for the major part is we are using the native rsync command, right? And we use it with or without exclusion, right? And that's it. So that's how the script works. Hopefully you find it safer than any of the commercial products available out there. If your needs are simple, right, especially backing up directories every few days, right, important directories, these scripts are really going to help you a lot. Fast, documented, and also all your backups also get documented. Alright, so thank you very much, and let's meet up on the next one.